Welcome to Living on the B-Side, where music and stories come together to inspire and transform. I'm your host Birgit, and in every episode we explore the universal language of music, how it shapes our lives, connects us, and tells the stories that define us. Through heartfelt conversations and powerful melodies, we uncover the magic that makes music so much more than just sound. B-Siders, welcome to this solo episode. I cannot wait to dive into this special episode today, where I am going to share a little bit where I've been over the last month. And I want to tell you like the why and also a little bit what's coming next. And all I can say is it has been a season that has been very significant, but also very, very unexpected in so many ways. Okay. I'm also still moving through and processing a lot of it. So where I'm today is still almost a little bit on the raw side of things, but I did feel like I wanted to jump on and share everything with you. Having said that, let's dive straight in. And obviously, you want to know how is this connected with music, and I will share that with you right now. As you know, music has always been my companion in every aspect of my life, and also through the podcast and the previous solo episodes. You do know that if you've checked them out. If not, just quickly kind of recap that music is like my invisible and guide, my friend, and a way for me to process the world. So when I've entered this phase of life, I might say sort of the last 6 months especially, music has been really interesting to observe in my life over the last 6 months especially, because that's when this significant phase of my life really took it to a whole nother level, right? And it all started with health issues in my family. So one person, health issues, having to deal and navigate a lot of the public health sector and different providers, etc. So without going into too much, it was quite stressful because one, I've never had to go through that before, or we never did. And two, it was really hitting hard, the reality of where we are at in this whole process and the world that is like that in this pocket of life. And then it took another hit around a month ago, a much more deeper hit that affected, again, another family member, which I will say ended up in a hospital stay. And I don't want to go into the details of it because it's still very raw and very personal too. But all I will say is if you've ever had a loved one that ended up in hospital for something rather serious, the roller coaster that your life takes on is real. It's very real. Through all this and through all the ups and downs of this, navigating this whole health scare, obviously part of my brain always kind of notices the music, the sound aspect. That's how my brain's wired. That's what I do. Not every day, but very regularly, because some days your brain just doesn't function. Anyway, I've noticed that I had carer burnout. And if you've ever cared for somebody for a length of time, you probably can really understand what that's like. That could be your child, that could be your partner, that could be your parents, that could be anyone that, you look after for a prolonged period of time. And at first, like we do as humans, we think we're invincible. We can just get on with things. We can just pull strength out from anywhere. However, over the last month, I noticed that that's not the case. My nervous system was literally fried. And that also meant that music wasn't accepted, wasn't needed, wasn't welcomed. I honestly needed quiet times and silence much more than any type of noise, any type of sound, any type of music. So at first, I admit that it felt weird because music has always been there for me and I've always was able to listen to music with no struggle, nothing like that. However, that point where I knew my nervous system or my whole being didn't want that, I realized there's another side to the whole sound thing. And sometimes the best sound we can give ourselves is nothing, is silence. To say this health journey with hospital involved, I can only describe it as overwhelm. If I would have to paint a picture, it would be an avalanche, literally just sweeping over me mentally and almost in like making me like frozen. I just could not do anything. I could not think properly. Sometimes it was hour by hour, some it was day by day. It literally fluctuated a hell of a lot. At the beginning, there were a lot of couch time and the TV on just for something there. My brain couldn't absorb it. So that's when I realized the music has gone quiet for me. But I didn't really went into too much. I just had to acknowledge and surrender to the fact that the best music that or sound there is for me right now is the stillness, is the silence. So the couch was the best place, sitting in the garden and just having nature sound, which wasn't like it was a soothing sound. That's what I could manage, but anything else I just could not. So that's when I noticed the music definitely went quiet. Thankfully, the more I've tuned in to that knowledge, to that message, the more I regained my strength. I was able to regain mental capacity as well as physical capacity. And I could tell I was moving more towards the self that I knew, not the self that I was like in the mud with, wrestling to keep my head above water or the mud. And then something really amazing and beautiful happened, and that happened about probably a week ago. And I pressed play on the new BTS album Arirang. Sorry, I don't want to say it wrong. It's Arirang. I pressed play on that album that came out. And you know what? I'm getting teary because it's such a profound moment. That moment I knew I was going to be okay because I felt this glimmer of joy, this glimmer of hope, and knowing I can live again. I'm coming back to myself. I'm not this shell of myself. And just this shift in itself, I cannot express into words how good that felt. Seriously. Just that first song on that Arirang album, and I mean, it's not, it is a very upbeat half of the album. The first half of the album is very dance, very hip hop, very like upbeat sound. And realizing I'm actually sitting in my chair and I'm chair dancing. I'm laughing. Um, I'm sort of going, oh my God, this is so good. That moment, if you've ever been in care burnout and you step into that glimmer, I call it that moment of glimmer, you know exactly what I mean. And if you're not, if you're still in the thick of it, trust me, it will happen for you too. That was just incredible. And it reminded me again that music mindfulness is happening, and that point is music mindfulness in action. Music was the signal of my own inner state. It is telling me where I'm at in my recovery from carer burnout. And it just felt so good. It just felt amazing. And as you can see, I am now talking to you. I'm pretty animated. I'm pretty happy. I'm laughing. Being back in that state from where I was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I'm so grateful. I really, truly am grateful. The other thing I've learned again and confirmed again for myself, and that I want to share with you, is that it's about this awareness piece, when music is good for you and when it isn't. There is no rule in the world that says you have to be okay to listen all the time. Sometimes it's okay just to ditch music altogether and leave it. It's about the noticing piece of when to listen and when not. And my example with the BTS album Arirang is obviously, I think, a very, very good example of when it's becoming super clear that, yes, I'm ready to let that into my world again. So, with life changing moments like this, with significant phases where that life throws at us, and no one's immune to that, as you all probably are aware, I needed to sit down and assess my life a little bit. And I wanted to assess my life because I have been given an experience that I will never forget, and that has changed my outlook on life very, very significantly. And I looked at my podcast and the journey I've had and the incredible amount of guests I've had on from season one right up to this season and my last podcast guest. This journey, I just cannot tell you how grateful I am I was able to do this with my guests, with you as the person walking along this podcast journey with me. And whilst I looked at my podcast and going through this journey of carer burnout and recovery, I also realized that sometimes we need to let go of things and look forward to something new. That's what we call we evolve, right? So my decision is that, or the decision that I've made, I should say, is that this will be the last episode of this podcast format of Living on the B-side. I will say thank you so much for the 6 seasons that I was able to create and share with you guys, with you as the B-side community. But it's time for me to evolve. I won't disappear, but I'm just feel like I need to do something different. I need to start, going somewhere else in a different direction. And obviously this season of my life has definitely taught me that I'm ready. I'm ready to evolve, and there's something important that I'm currently birthing, that I'm currently working through, that will come out of it. Hence, I just wanted to really say a big thank you to you all guys. And you might be asking yourself, what's that? What are you evolving into? What I can tell you is, and I've said that probably for a while, but I really want to focus on this now, especially after this experience I've just had. I really want to lean into so much in helping others like yourself to use music more intentionally, especially when you're stressed, especially when you're exhausted, especially when you're overwhelmed, and really focus on that, because I think that can make such a massive difference in life. And I'm a walking example. I'm a walking testament to that. I've lived it for years, and now I really want to go and do that and be that and go not all in, but as much as I can at this point in time. So for now, I want to say thank you for being on a podcast journey. It's not a forever goodbye. It's just a change of lanes, and who knows what the future brings with regards to podcasting. I am not sure, but for now, this part of living on the B-side has come to a conclusion. if you wanted to stay in touch with me, you can find me on social media channels. You can find me on LinkedIn, especially. There is Facebook, Instagram, or you can join my mailing list, which I will restart shortly as well. And if any of this, if any episodes, if anything of the content that came out through my podcast has resonated with you, has touched you, or made you ponder, stop, think, if that is a silence, if you had overwhelm and you tuned in, music can be such a lifeline. And if you want, I would love to be there for you a little bit more in a different way. So please join me either on my email list or the social media channels. And if you just enjoyed listening to the podcast, I am truly grateful you've been here. Please revisit old episodes. There will always be certain musical nuggets for you, no matter where you are in your journey, in your life phases, or get in touch with me, and I might be able to recommend an episode for you. But just know this is not goodbye forever. It's just, how should I say this? A B-side flip, so to speak. Again, truly grateful for you all. Thanks for being part of this journey so far, and I hope you join me wherever this will lead me moving forward. And I'm sending you so, so much music and love. Please take care. Please keep the music going and be aware of when music is beneficial for you or not. Anyway, sending you so much music and love. Thank you so much, B-Siders. Take care. And until we meet again. Thanks. Bye for now. Bye bye.